Hey guys, although I'm very new to Unity, I'm definitely not new to learning anything in tech. I've been working as a software engineer for the past 5 years.
Wow!
From that experience, I'm giving you this simple 5-step framework for learning Unity as a beginner. The first step to learning Unity is to just go ahead and download Unity, get it set up in your system, and have the momentum going. Take the first step because happens to most people is that they spend a lot of time thinking about, yeah, I need to start, and yeah, I'll start tomorrow. It just doesn't happen. They keep watching other people making stuff, but they don't really make anything themselves. So it's very important to just go ahead, don't think too much. Just go ahead and download Unity and get started. You don't have to make anything at this stage. Just go ahead and download it and get it running on your system. While downloading it, maybe just follow a tutorial where they show how to download Unity, how to set it up on your system, how to get it running, and just try to follow a very recent video, because what ends up happening is some of this video gets hard to follow because they are a little backdated, and Unity has probably pushed some updates in between and you don't understand what's going on. So just it's a good practice to just watch something that is relatively new. Now on to the second step. The second step is basically to follow a YouTube tutorial and replicate whatever is being built there. The idea here is to just find any decent video on YouTube. There's so many. Just take one and go through it end to end. Do exactly what they're doing. Just try to copy paste everything. While you're doing it, you're definitely going to come across situations where you don't feel too confident about what is being done and following it, because you feel like you're not understanding some of the things that they're doing and why they're doing it. And it's completely fine to not understanding a few things at this stage, because you're just learning, you're just going through a video. This is very early stage. It's okay, be comfortable with not knowing at this stage. This is just to get you the practice of building something, and that is it. So don't have the expectation going into this that you're going to understand whatever is being done. Just finish the tutorial and get into a habit of finishing things, and that should be good enough. Once you're done going through this tutorial, a few things might happen. First, you develop a fake sense of confidence that, yeah, I'm a pro. I can do this. I can build stuff, and whatever comes next, I can do it. But I challenge you at this stage that just go ahead and try building the same thing that you have built watching the tutorial, and you'll quickly find that you can't move one step forward without watching the video. So when that happens, what most people tend to do is that they go ahead, watch another video, and just do go through the same process of just following whatever is being done. And what ends up happening is they end up making two different applications, but they get into a very bad mindset. And this thing happens so many times that it has a term. Most people learning new things, they end up doing this. It's called the tutorial hell. In the beginning, I have suffered from it myself, so talking from experience here, you shouldn't get into the habit of doing this, because it's very different from what is actually going to happen in real world. In real world, you always start with a problem. You're building something and then you get stuck, and then you try looking for a solution for it. You use AI, you Google things, and you watch YouTube tutorials and all that. But here, going through a very different kind of a procedure, which is you start with the solution. The YouTube video is already the solution, and then you just, with the solution, you just move forward. Working with a real application, you will never find a situation where there's an exact app built somewhere that you can replicate completely. Maybe there's going to be bits and pieces here and there, but not the complete thing. You'll never find it. At this stage, what you should be doing is you should just go ahead and pick a project. What is this project going to look like? This project has to be something really, really simple. If you have been following my journey, you'll see that I've built two very simple applications. The first one, it didn't even have colors. Forget textures, it didn't have colors. So everything's white. And with the second one, the only improvement that I had was probably I had a few colors and I used a 3D model with some textures. That was the only improvement with the second application. So what this does for you is this process mimics the real life process. In real life, you first have a project in mind, you have features defined, and then you start building it, and then you run into problems, and then you look for solutions on the internet. There are different sources, you can use any, but what's important here at this step is that you get into the habit of starting with a problem and then looking for solutions. Let's say you have picked a project and built it. Pick another very simple project and do it again. For the third time, I would say if you already feel confident, then you don't have to. But if you feel like building it, then start building it. Again, for all these three projects or two projects, make sure you have very simple, very unfinished, and be comfortable with building unfinished products. It's important. So what you've done so far is you have built three games. You have also tried to mimic a real life scenario, which is a great habit. But there's a problem. And the problem is that although you have built a few things, you don't really have the depth of knowledge that is required to start building something that is of a more serious scale. So how do you get that depth of knowledge? I personally recommend that you should just go ahead and take a course. It doesn't really have to be one of those paid courses. It can be just anything for free. Even the Unity pathway is brilliant. Just going through that should be fine. Just don't spend too much time trying to find the best course. It's not worth it. Just pick any, most of it is going to cover the basic, so just go ahead and pick one. Why do I recommend taking a course? Because it talks about the basic principles, the best practices, and you're going to learn about a few things that you didn't know was possible. Sometimes knowing about the things that you don't know is a lot of knowing.
What?
But here's the catch. Going through the course usually does not yield good results. And why doesn't it do it? If you have gone through any course yourself, you'll know that after going through the course, you barely retain any information from it. Kind of similar to the experience you had when you just coded along in step number two. And to solve this problem, before starting the course, you should have a dream project. What should this dream project look like? This dream project can be anything. Sky is the limit here. You could be thinking of building the next GTA game. What this does for you is that it sets a list of questions because you have different features in your game, right? And you need to know how to build these features. So it lists down a very extensive list of things that you need to know and is important for you. So that way, your brain, whenever in the course you come across something relevant to your application, and the beauty about this is that any beginner course is going to teach you things that is almost 90% of the course is somehow going to be relevant to whatever you're building because you're building something big, right? And it's definitely going to have all the beginner type things that they are going to teach in the course. So almost everything is going to be relevant for you. Something is not relevant for you, what your brain is going to do is that it's just going to discard that information. It's going to think like, wait, I'm not going to use it anyway, so why bother storing it? Why waste that extra bit of energy on this? But when you have something that you are going to use later on, you need it, otherwise you'll be in deep trouble later on. That's when your brain just retains that information. So go with any course, picking a dream project first and follow through it. Get answers to all your questions that you might need answers to later on. And then you'll see that you are retaining much more from the course. Maybe let's say you this time you're going to retain 70 to 60% of the entire course in comparison to the 10 or 15% you would have otherwise if you didn't start with a dream project. I just made these numbers up right now, so don't trust the numbers, but do trust the fact that starting with a dream project or any important project that's meaningful to you is something that definitely helps. So start with the project. Now let's say you're done going through the entire course. what should you be doing next? You should definitely not be working on your dream project right away. Wait for it. You're not ready for that yet. If you start working on your dream project right now, what's going to happen is you halfway through you're going to stop making any progress because you'll get to a point where you don't know how to do things and it's too big of a project, too overwhelming for you, and then you are going to give up and you are going to hate game development for the rest of your life. We don't want that. We want some level of success behind you before you go ahead and build this gigantic application. So start with another simple project, but this simple project is a little different from the other simple projects that we talked about. Those simple projects were basically just a feature that you work. This, although the application is going to be simple, you are going to completely finish this application. It's going to be polished. It's going to have all the animations, all the like start screen, end screen, scoreboards. That is what I mean by a complete but simple application. This is the final step in learning Unity. Once you're done building this application, you can consider starting on your dream project, and the rest of your learning is going to happen as you build more games. Every time you build, you'll learn a lot of new things. You'll run into new problems every time you start a new project. As you solve these problems, you'll learn more. Thank you for watching it till the end. See you next time. Bye bye.